always, because of security reasons, we're going to ask you to switch your camera on. So, brother Yusuf, where are you, brother Yusuf? Let's see. Yep, you switched it on. You can switch it back off, or you can keep it on. It's up to you. And we're just going to add you first.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Yusuf, how are you doing?
I'm fine, alhamdulillah. How are you guys doing?
Alhamdulillah. Yeah.
Can you guys hear me correct?
Yes, we can. How are you doing, brother?
Alhamdulillah. Shukla, it's really nice to be on here.
Alhamdulillah.
It's a pleasure to be talking to you guys, mashallah. Like, I wanna thank you so much for the efforts that you guys do.
Yeah, it was
It's
a pleasure
been
to have you on the other side of this phone call as well.
it's been really, really helpful, like especially like from my personal experience, been really, really helpful, like in my whole life, like not just the da'wah thing, but like my views in life in general, like they were different. Like alhamdulillah, thanks to Allah, and then thanks to you guys.
Alhamdulillah. Thanks so much for that. Yeah.
So my question is regarding something you said before, Brother Hijab. It's about the particularization argument.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, like it was one of your videos where you were talking about it, and you said like if you have something, like this is my understanding of the how the argument is. If you have like something in a particular way, the fact that it could have been another way shows that there was someone that particularized it into this. So like if you have a pink bottle, you had a pink bottle or something in front of you, and you said, well, it could have been like a blue bottle or a black bottle or something like that. So
Well,
therefore,
have you got my latest book?
Have a look at that camera.
I have seen it, but I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, let me give you that.
Right.
This is the latest book. It's
The
got.
Burhan.
Can you see that?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. All right. You can get this because a lot of what you're talking about, is in here. In particular.
Yeah, my question is like is regarding the fact that like I don't think the conclusion from this is correct. Like I don't understand how you reach this conclusion, because like, is my describing of the argument correct first?
I think the way I make the argument in the book is a little bit different. So the way I make the argument in the book is that something could be any other way in abstraction, rather than whether something can be another way full stop. Because obviously, as Muslims, we believe in qadar, or the idea of everything being determined by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in knowledge and in mashi'ah, or in will, and also in
Sorry about that, brother. We just we lost you for some seconds. Please continue.
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, so when we say in abstraction, we're saying when not connected with any of those things. So for an atheist or determinist atheist, for example, or naturalist or something, they might not believe in Allah, obviously, or they will not believe in Allah, but they will believe in an uninterrupted causal chain or something like that, right? So for us, if I say like, well, this apple, let's use live examples now. This apple could have been blue, or let's say green, yeah? Let's say this apple could have been green. Now, actually, if we're saying everything is maqdur and everything is qadar and everything Allah has, from our perspective, has created the apple and He had willed the apple and all that stuff, so the apple had to have been red, obviously, right? But what we're saying is that there's nothing in and of this apple which makes it necessary. Meaning that there's nothing necessarily in abstraction without connection to anything else that means that this apple should be necessary in abstraction without relation to anything else. And the easy reason for that is that this apple had a beginning. Anything which has a beginning cannot be necessary, because something which is necessary has to always be necessary. It has to be pre-eternally necessary and post-eternally necessary. So the apple cannot be necessary in and of itself. It can only be referred to as necessary in conjunction with the will of Allah. or say the uninterrupted causal chain, whatever it is that you want to connect it with. But in
Okay,
life,
but my can I just like say something before like we get deep into this point, because this is not like the point that I'm actually trying to ask about. It's the point that the fact, like, for example, if I have like a okay, if imagine if someone's like on the top of the building or something, or in a helicopter, and he has like a triple-sided coin in his pocket, and that pocket falls out of his that coin falls out of his pocket without him noticing, for example, and it just like flies around and falls on, like, let's say the second side, and then you say, well, look, the coin fell on the second side, therefore it's evidence that this person has like willed it onto the second side, when like it was a random thing. Like my point is, like, if anything was like the apple was red or it was blue or yellow, even if it was any random coloring or any random configuration, you could have said
oh,
the same
I
reasoning.
see. I see. But you see in this example that you gave, I don't know why you made it three-sided, or you can just make it two sides. I mean, just for the sake of clarity. And why does it have to be three sides? Let's just say you have a coin in your pocket, right, and it falls out of your pocket, or you flick it, or if it falls out of your pocket, right? Let me see if I'm understanding you correctly. And then it goes on heads rather than tails. So it's not because I willed it to go out of my pocket as heads and rather than tails. It's just coincidental that was the case. Is this what you're saying? And
Yeah,
therefore,
exactly.
it's not. Now, so the point I feel like you're missing out here, then, in this case, is this: what can we say as a matter of fact about the relationship between me and the coin? I caused the coin. Okay, I was acting upon the coin as an external sorting agent, whether or not my intention was for it to go on heads or tails, but I acted upon the coin in such a way as that if that action had not been imprinted upon the coin, then the coin would not have been on whatever it is it fell on, whether it's heads or tails. Correct or not?
Uh, can you like explain this part a bit more?
If I flick a coin right now, if I flick a coin and it lands on heads or it lands on tails, yeah, I might not have willed it to land on heads or tails because I don't know if I flick it whether it is going to land on heads or tails or not. Correct?
Yes.
However, if I flick the coin if I flick the coin and it lands on either heads or tails, it is because I flicked it. It would not have landed on heads or tails had I not flicked it. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Now, in order for us now to assess whether the universe has been willed or not in a certain way, there's two components of this. One component is to realize that if the universe is one way rather than another, so if it's in this case heads rather than tails, yeah, the coin is heads rather than tails, that is because that the universe could have been X and it could have been Y in abstraction in and of itself. There's nothing pre-eternal about the universe or post-eternal about it or things within it that make it necessary in that sense that it cannot be anything other than what it is. So in that sense, we can say, you can put intention to the side. The way that the universe is due to something acting upon it. You see the point? Just like the way that the coin was heads or tails is because something was acting upon it. At this point, do we agree?
Okay, yeah, there had to be an external factor which
Yes, beautiful.
drove
Now,
it.
the question is, we have now subsidiary type arguments, yeah, that the universe exhibits certain traits. Now, it exhibits complexity, yeah, and this complexity allows, for example, for stability, uniformity, and predictability, yeah, in the universe. Otherwise, we would not have the scientific method. These are things that are known within the universe. The question now is, with stability, uniformity, and predictability in the universe, with the complexity that allows life to exist within it, the question now is, has this been particularized coincidentally? Is it even possible for it to be so, or is it not? We're saying that combined with the fact that the universe is complex enough to harbor within it any kind of life, that it has stability, predictability, and uniformity, that with the fact that the universe could be one way or another, indicates that there's not just something acting upon it, but there was something acting upon it with knowledge. When you put both of those arguments together, because I've tried to make this very clear that you shouldn't use any of these arguments in isolation. You should put them together. When you put these arguments together, then it's very clear that something contrived the universe to be in the way it was. Something carved the universe to be the way it was with some kind of a will. Now you have two options: either it didn't have a will, or it did have a will. But the fact remains, which is at least the most basic thing you can say about it, is that something was acting upon the universe. Another way you can put this, and I don't want to go into too much detail here, is the distinction between potential and actual. Like, what's the difference between a chick and an egg? An egg, obviously, the chick comes from the egg. So the egg is like a potential, whereas the chick that hatches out of the egg is still a potential. In a sense, it's still a potential from one other perspective, because it could become a chicken, but it's hatched now. Now, in order for the chick to have hatched from the egg, there had to be something working upon it, outside of it. Likewise, the universe. Since the universe is potential, it's not an actual. Something needs to be working outside of it in order to make it what it is. So these are all different ways which you can argue the point. But in short, what we say is that, combined with the fact that the universe is complex enough to harbor life, and that it's uniform and predictable and stable, that with the fact that things could have been another way, I think is good grounds for concluding that there was a knowing will that contrived the universe to be one way rather than another way.
Yeah. Jazakallah khair on that. Just before we go any further, I just wanted everybody to know that I'm looking at the questions in the private chat being posted in the studio. If questions have been answered already, then I'm removing those people from the studio so new people can come, because we don't want to repeat the same questions again. And Brother Yusuf, you can get the book and you can get more information there. Jazakallah khair for your time.
Can I just could I add upon just an extra thing? But I don't know if this can be considered an extra question or not. But it's regarding the same particularization. Can I? Or
have you read the section that we were referring to in the book?
No, I haven't read any parts of the book yet.
I would suggest you do that, because even when you asked the question, that's what the confusion was, that the argument being made wasn't properly captured the way that you were explaining it. So if you do that, and then next week you can come back or another time, because we have loads of people in the studio, and the complaint I keep getting on Twitter and on email and everything is people say you're not giving other people enough time, and sometimes the same people that come every week as well. So I want to try and mix it up a bit. Jazakallah khair for that, brother.
Okay, thank you so much.